Welcome to this web class, Radiant Woman. Unlock the power, the beauty, and the magic of your sexuality. And I'm Tarisha Turok, and I'm just so delighted to be here with you because I know that a woman's happiness depends on her relationship to her body and her sexuality. So it's so beautiful that you found this time where you can focus on that connection to yourself, to your sexuality, and to understand that actually our sexuality is our power. It's not something to be ashamed of, something to be, to feel guilty about. So stay and listen to this class if you want to discover how to actually feel confident in your own skin, how to feel at peace with yourself, and how to enjoy heart-melting, spirit-infused lovemaking that can create so much fulfillment, so much happiness, so much joy in your life. And I'm so delighted to have you here because this is such an important topic that usually we just don't pay attention to. We decide that this is not as important. I have to focus on my to-do list, on achieving things, rather than actually focus on my fulfillment. And I'm gonna go to the slides now. So now to the slides. And so this web class is for women who want to reclaim the power and beauty of their sexuality. And this is for women who are done living small and restricted lives where their to-do list just takes the joy out of their life. And this is also for women who want to connect to their radiance and they want to shine brightly, even if they had past negative experiences or even if their current circumstances are less than ideal. And the truth is, when are they ever ideal, right? And so who is this specifically? So it's for women in a relationship who want to feel desired and desirable, and they want to enjoy heart-melting intimacy with their partner. It's also for single women who are ready to let go of old relational patterns, right? Where they keep feeling unfulfilled and unloved. And being single is the best time, right? To actually let go of those patterns. So the next time you get into a relationship, you attract someone who's really a match for you, who really can make you happy and fulfilled. And also this is for women who are going through separation, who want to find their power as a woman and who want to use the current situation to let go of hurtful relational patterns once and for all. And a lot of women that come to my work actually in this category, they go through separation and they want to create a new experience of life for themselves. And also, this is for women who had enough playing different roles and pleasing others. It's for women who finally want to find out, what do they want and how can they have more pleasure in their life. And you might be thinking, when I don't need to take care of my kids anymore, what do I actually want out of my life? What kind of sex and intimacy do I want to create in my life? I don't want to just function, I want to joy, right? I want to have joy, pleasure, fulfillment, and I want time for me. And also this is for women who sense the power of their sexuality and they're on the brink of sexual awakening. Women who yearn for spiritual experiences in sex. And that's what I believe is the highest potential of sex, is actually to have spiritual experiences through sexual intimacy, either with ourselves or with our partners. And so most of all, this class is for women who are done having sex, but they desire deep and emotionally connected lovemaking instead. And is this you or not? Yeah, and who is this not for? This is very important. This is not for women who want to keep on blaming their partners or their past for not enjoying fulfilling intimacy and not feeling desired and desirable. This is also not for women who don't want to explore the magical power of their sexuality. Also for women who are okay with mediocre sex or just don't want to have sex at all, right? If that's you, then this class is not for you. And so the problems you might be facing right now is that you could be frustrated with your sex life. You might have sex to keep peace. You also might lack confidence. And you might not feel sexy and attractive in your own body. And also you might feel disconnected from your body and you live more in your head, and as a result you lack joy in life and you feel like your to-do list rules your life. You also might, maybe you lost your desire and sex is just another chore for you. And also you might feel inexperienced, embarrassed and confused in the bedroom. Some women tell me they feel like a little girl in the bedroom rather than a grown-up woman. And also you might have past negative sexual experiences that keep on robbing you of joy, of pleasure in your life. Okay, so during this class you will discover the 5 principles to activating the power and beauty of your sexuality. And also you identify 5 reasons of why you lost desire and why you feel frustrated with your sex life. And this is very important. And also you learn how actually you can feel desired and desirable in your own skin. And you'll understand the 5 essential keys to unlocking the magic, beauty and power of your sexuality. And for example, take Faye, right? And she worked with me for a while. And she says that before learning the sexually empowered radiant woman method, she felt like she was living her life in a straitjacket. Very constricted, very unexpressed, very unhappy. And she stopped painting. She felt too old and uninspired. And she lacked desire and she didn't know how to ask her partner to fulfill her sexually. And so after our work together, she started to feel alive, knowing how to ask for what she wants. And she started to create deeper relationships, not just with her partner, but with her family and her friends as well, because she became more authentic, she became more open and attractive. And the beautiful part is that she started to paint again, telling the story of female sexuality through her art. Okay, and so in this web class, there's nothing for sale, right? So you can relax about that. I'll just share with you as much as I can so you can start enjoying the power and beauty of your sexuality and have the heart opening and emotionally connected sex. And by the end, you'll get a gift from me that will help you to map out your unique path to feeling free, to feeling sexy, to feeling attractive and enjoying a soul-fulfilling intimacy, okay? And so just a little bit about me. I'm Tarisha Turok, and I've learned and I've done tons on this path. And I know that this class is about you and not about me. But just to give you a sense of my experience and be very super quick, I started in 2010 when my daughter was born. And I am trained in Hakomi psychotherapy, in emotionally focused psychotherapy for couples, in breath work, in sacred sexuality, and women-centered coaching. And I also have 2 postgraduate degrees from the university in counseling and psychotherapy. I do really take this subject playfully but seriously, so I really learn a lot, and I keep on learning. And I work with couples as well as individuals on how to create deeper connection, firstly with themselves and then with each other. And my favorite is women's group work and retreats because it's just incredible how women start to feel confident, powerful and free when supported by a group of women who fully got their back. And from my story, I was sexually abused in my childhood and started my life seeing sex as something, it's a duty, right? And it's not something for me. And now after doing all the work, I absolutely love sex because my whole body starts to vibrate with love, with aliveness. It's like the love in every cell of my body. And I really enjoy my heart orgasms, my third eye orgasms. It's an incredible experience. The beauty, the openness, the joy that my body can allow me to experience is just amazing. And I feel in tune with my body, and most importantly, even when I look at my wrinkles, right, or have a bad hair day, I still feel loved and I feel beautiful. And it's such a relief, and there's so much joy in that. And that's what I really want for you. And so we're here for you, yeah? And you might be asking, but how do I connect to the power and beauty of my body and my sexuality? How do I stop feeling frustrated with sex? But start loving sex. And the thing is, you're not alone in this quest. Do you know that 43% of women report being sexually frustrated, and 30% of women report low sexual desire, which I think the figure is much higher, yeah? And 91% of women say that they're dissatisfied with their body in some way. And so here are why we lose our desire. Yeah. So these are the 5 reasons why we lose our desire. So number one is that we lose our desire when we close our bodies and hearts to love. We shut our bodies down to love because of past negative experiences, or maybe because of societal expectations that tell us we need to be a certain way, or we hear damaging messages while growing up about our sexuality. And so what do? We put ourselves in a box, we cut parts of ourselves, dim our light, and we lose our authentic sexual voice. And that's how we lose the desire for physical love. And it becomes really difficult then to open our bodies and surrender to love. Because in physical intimacy, right, there is an aspect of surrendering, of opening, of letting another human being inside our body. So reason number 2 why we lose desire is we have that inner critical voice that constantly compares us to the image of a perfect woman, right? Who looks like Kim Crawford or one of the Kardashians, right? And makes love like a porn star. And we constantly fall short, right? So we start to disconnect from our bodies and we start to view our body from outside. We start to be a judge of our body. So we become these judgmental observers rather than the free, authentic, and loving being. And pleasure comes when we come back into our bodies, when we start to feel the flow of love and life force running through our body. Reason number 3 is that we're so much in our heads. Our to-do list rules our lives. So how are we supposed to enjoy sex, right? And open our hearts to our partner when what goes in our heads is, I need to do the washing, or crap, I forgot to defrost dinner, or no, what am I gonna give kids for lunch? I just need this to be over so I can do everything that needs to be done. I mean, right? How can you have desire and pleasure and love when your head is constantly running the thoughts of what needs to be done? Reason number 4 why we lose desire is that because of wrong messages we receive, we believe that the goal of sexual connection is orgasm. And so instead of pleasure and connection, we focus on orgasm and we get stressed all about it, right? Like, am I gonna come? Am I gonna come? Is he doing the right thing? Am I fast enough? Oh no, he climaxed first. Crap, here we go again, usual, right? And then we really feel upset. We feel resentful. We feel hurt. And we close our bodies even further to love. And so the next time we already start the sexual experience with the stress of what if I'm not gonna come? What if I'm not gonna orgasm? Does this sound familiar to you? And reason number 5 why we lose desire is that we have sex disconnected from our heart. So we view sexual interaction as purely physical, and so our bodies shut down. Our bodies say, no, that's not enough for me. I want something more. I want deep and emotionally connected lovemaking, not just mechanical sex. Who wants that? But the problem is, we don't know how to ask for what we want. Or we sell ourselves out to please our partners, to keep peace in the family. And so we say yes to others while saying no to ourselves and our deeper desires. And so our bodies shut down, our bodies say no, right? It's actually a really smart mechanism. So when we keep on saying yes to others, we create conflict inside, right? Our bodies say no, our head, our voice says yes. We please others, but then we feel so resentful inside. And being resentful is a sure way to lose your desire, to disconnect from love, to age faster and become really unattractive. Like resentment is such a strong emotion. It really shuts us down and makes us very unattractive. So check in with yourself. Are you resenting anyone for anything? Because it's time to forgive and let go and start to open your body and heart to love. Okay. And so let's start with the principle number 1 to unlocking the power and beauty of your sexuality. Yeah. So principle number 1 is we need to accept the reality. And this thing is, you are where you are at in your sexual journey because of your past experiences, positive and negative. But they don't define your future. Yeah. And the principle number 2, which I see so many women think that it's up to their partner to fulfill them sexually, or because they can't find the right partner, they feel unfulfilled. But no, this leaves you feeling frustrated, resentful, and disempowered. So the second principle you need to know is that as a woman, you have an incredible power to experience deep sexual fulfillment, and then you can invite your partner into that experience with you. Or you can attract a partner that is willing to create emotionally fulfilling sexual connection with you. You don't need to keep on repeating the past and let it affect your future. And so it's in our full power to open our bodies and hearts to love, to find our sexual voice. And once we do that, we can invite our partners into authentic, heart-melting and spirit-infused sexual intimacy. And I can't stress this enough. We need to open our bodies to love. It's our job. And the truth is, through lovemaking, we physically create love in our bodies. We create more love in this world. And that's the gift of open-hearted and spirit-infused lovemaking, either by yourself or with your partner. And it's a choice that you can make for yourself. And so we are frustrated with our sex life, not because of how other people are, but because we are not connected to the ecstatic sexual energy in our body. And so we can't invite our partners to experience something different. And we leave it up to our partners to show us a different experience of sex. And they keep on failing us. Then we get resentful, resigned, right? This is how it is and I can't change that. And you surely can, even if you had past negative experiences, right? That closed down your heart and your body. You can change that. It's a choice that you can make, right? Or maybe because you were disconnected from your sexual energy, you made a relationship choice that's not working for you anymore. Like that could be a possibility, right? And if that's the case, you really need to be honest with yourself and you need to get support in figuring out if you should stay and upgrade your current relationship or if it's better to leave. And I really invite you not to take this decision lightly, because it's a big thing. And I'm pretty sure that it's like 50-50, right? But you need to be honest with yourself and you need to get support. Okay, and so here's the solution I'm offering you. In order to solve our sexual challenges, we need to step into radical self-responsibility and realize that we have the power to change our sexual experiences. Yeah. And stop waiting and not recognizing your sexual power. And we wait and we hope that our partners are going to do it differently for us because we were led to believe that sex is more important for men and women are supposed to take a passive role. So we feel sexually dissatisfied and we think because it's for our partners, right? But we need to start taking an active role in our sexual experiences. And so the challenge I see again and again is that women stay frustrated with their sex life because somewhat that feels comfortable. They don't need to take responsibility and they continue blaming their circumstances, blaming other people, right? And they say, for example, I don't have time now. They say, I can't change this. They say, when kids grow up, maybe then I'll look into this. And I get it. It's like standing in front of the tunnel and you don't know what's on the other side, right? So even if it's not so good where you're at right now, at least it's familiar, right? It's safe. And the big problem though is we're not getting any younger. And I work with too many women late in life when they tell me, I wish I knew this before. I wish I met you in my 20s. And so the time to awaken the power, the beauty of your sexuality is now, right? Now is the only time. It's the perfect time because every day that passes without us feeling empowered and fulfilled is just another day wasted and feeling dissatisfied, stuck and miserable. And I'm pretty sure on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking, oh, I wish I did, I finished all the to-do lists. I've cleaned everything. I'm pretty sure you're going to be thinking about how much love I experienced, how much connection I've experienced. Yeah? And so take Brianna, for example, and she was saying that prior to learning the sexually empowered radiant woman method, everything felt like a pretense for her. And she was going through the motions but she was receiving no joy and felt like a part of her was missing or broken. And she just couldn't connect to her true self. And through the work, right, so much has moved and shifted for her. And she started to be able to tap into her divine feminine self, her source of power, and that it felt really incredible for her. And she also says that there has been very big shifts in her relationship with herself and her boyfriend. And now she can ask for what she wants, for what she desires, and it completely changes her life experience. So this is my invitation for you, whatever you take from today. But the biggest thing I invite you is to change your focus, right? From how do I get my partner to satisfy me into how do I activate the delicious sexual energy in my body, and how do I invite my partner to share it with me. Because the fact is, once you connect to the delicious sexual energy inside of you, you'll be able to invite your partner into a soul-fulfilling lovemaking. So it's time to stop waiting and hoping, but cause great sex happen in your life. And if you are single, there's no reason to feel insecure in your sexuality, because this is exactly the right time to transform your relationship to your sexuality, so you feel free, you feel sexy, you feel confident no matter what, right? And imagine when you feel free, sexy, and confident, how much more enjoyment and success you're going to have in dating, right? Because then you'll also be able to create much more fulfilling relationships. You'll be able to make an empowered choice next time you step into a new relationship. And maybe you don't even want to have a relationship, right? But then you'll be able to feel confident and ecstatic on your own, without feeling dissatisfied and frustrated and somehow less than whole, less than a perfect woman. And so how do I know this possible? It's because I have experienced it, right? And I see how my clients do it as well. And as I shared before, I used to not like sex. Like, it was something dirty, something I was supposed to enjoy and give to my partner. And what I've done is that I've traveled all around the world, and I learned from so many teachers to realize the beauty of my sexuality. And now I love sex. And I really experience it as a process of making love in our bodies, of increasing joy, connection, and pleasure. And experiencing really, those expanded states of consciousness where I feel connected to everything around me. And I know how to invite my beloved into that experience with me. But I really had to practice the 5 essential keys to unlocking the magic, beauty, and power of my sexuality, which I will share with you just in a moment. And this one of my clients, right, Sarah, she said that the method really helped her to claim her sexuality for herself. And she says, now I own it and I feel it. And with this understanding comes power and opens up so many more possibilities in my life. So it's not just about sex, but it's actually about having an empowered relationship with yourself, with life, and with other people. And so right now I'll walk you through the 5 steps you need to take if you want to experience soul-fulfilling sexual intimacy and feel empowered in your sexuality. And if you want my help in identifying what's on the way of you activating your delicious sexuality, I'd be very happy to help. So you can just schedule a call with me, so together we can create a roadmap for you to start feeling empowered in your sexuality. Yeah? And there's click the button there's somewhere near this video, and we can set up a quick call, which is completely free, with lots and lots of support. Okay, so here are the 5 keys, and I talk about them as 5 petals of the flower that you absolutely must have in order to enjoy the power and beauty of your sexuality. And so I'm gonna tell you about each one and what it involves, and I do recommend you take notes, because I'll share with you a lot of information in a short time. Like, we'll be going for another maybe, 20-30 minutes or so. So please stay present and take notes. And what I'll be doing, I'll be giving you 30,000 feet overview, right? So you can have an understanding of what steps you need to take, which is extremely valuable. And I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we're all busy, right? So I'll share with you only the essentials, but you'll get a map of what you need to do. And so the step number 1, and so this key is all about creating a new story of you as a sexually empowered, radiant woman. And the thing is, because we didn't have good role models, we don't even know what it means to enjoy soul-fulfilling sexual intimacy. We don't know what it means to be a sexually empowered woman. So we need to step into what's really possible for us and stop settling for less than satisfying sexual interactions. And we need to connect to our desire. Because of course, who wants to desire mechanical soulless sex, right? And if this is the only option we know, then it makes total sense that we completely disconnect from our desire, right? And so follow the steps on your path to becoming a sexually empowered woman, right? This is the most fundamental. Because once you know what's possible for you, this vision will inspire you and it will give you motivation to overcome any challenges. And you'll discover that becoming a sexually empowered radiant woman will affect every area of your life. You'll experience more connection and love because you'll become effortlessly attractive and inspire your partner to cherish and support you. So what is your new story? And I invite you to just for a moment, maybe even close your eyes, but feel into, what is my new story that I want to write? What is it that I'm creating in my life? How do I want to feel in relationship to my body, to my sexuality? What kind of sex do I want to have in my life from now on? And let yourself dream a bit. And even after this class, I invite you to actually go for a walk or journal about it. What is the story that I'm creating for myself? This is such an important question. And now to step number 2. Key number 2 is we need to feel at home and at peace in our body. We need to create body harmony. Yeah. And we need to feel safe and at home in our body so we can fully come down into our body to feel pleasure. Because the painful truth is we often lose that sexual spark because of past negative experiences. And if that happened to you, I'm really sorry. I know it happened to me. And I know that it's really hard to feel sexy and surrender to love when we don't feel safe, right? And even if you had no negative experiences in your past, you still might not feel safe in your body because of the collective trauma. And because somehow as women, we just don't feel safe in our bodies. Yeah. And so the biggest problem I see that happens as a result of past negative experiences is that women close their hearts and disconnect from the power and beauty of their sexuality. So instead of directing their anger at the circumstances and people that hurt them, they take the anger inside and they start to feel shame and guilt and they close down. Yeah, but the good news is we can restore the feeling of safety in our body. We can let go of shame and guilt with loving support and powerful practices. And the main thing is we can't think our way into safety. We need to experience what it actually means to feel safe, right? And this is why practices and support of a trained therapist are so important. Because otherwise we get stuck in feeling unsafe, our body closes down, and we keep on judging ourselves, feeling like there's something wrong with me. And the only thing that's wrong is that you didn't have enough support. So right now, I invite you into a little short practice. If you put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart, take a big breath and you ask yourself, am I feeling safe in my own body? And just have a moment here, checking in with yourself. Am I feeling open? Am I feeling at home? Yeah. And then opening your eyes and letting go of that. And this is a really important practice, everyday practice, to actually check in, how safe am I feeling? And also asking yourself, what do I need to feel safe in my body? And also to feel at peace in your body, we really need to stop the critical voice inside our heads and turn that voice into a supportive voice. Because when we have the inner critical voice, it's impossible to experience our body as a source of joy and pleasure. Yeah. So the tip I give you here is that next time you hear that critical voice in your head, I invite you to start speaking it out loud to make visible the damage it causes you. Because when you start speaking it out loud, most probably you'll be appalled and you'll have more resolve to stop that voice. Yeah, so we really like when it's just running in our heads, we're not even aware of what's going on. But once you start speaking it out loud, it gives you way more power to actually see it and change that. Okay, so now to key number 3. And in key number 3, we need to connect to our body wisdom. So after we start feeling safe and at peace in our bodies, then we're able to awaken the beauty and power of our bodies. And this is the way to deep toe-curling intimacy that deeply fulfills you. And so the first step is to learn the art of listening to your body and discover what your body needs to give you all its gifts, right? So you need to learn how to distinguish when your body intelligence speaks or when it's fear and past conditioning. This is a very important distinction, right? Because quite often, if we had a difficult past, right, we might think this is my body intelligence, but actually it's something that limits us and keeps us feeling small. So very important to differentiate. And also what's crucial here is that you not only listen, but you respond to your body. Because when we don't respond, then our body starts screaming, right, by becoming sick or sore, or it shuts down and it stops speaking to us. And so the thing is, we can become sexually empowered on top of feeling disconnected from our bodies. Sexuality starts in our physical body. And yes, there's a potential to connect to spirituality through our sexuality, but it all starts with the physical body. And what I find happens when we focus on our to-do list and achieving, it's just easier to shut down our body feelings, because feelings do take time. And so bit by bit, we start to disconnect from our body so we can function better in the world. Though the cost is we lose the connection with our inner GPS. We make choices that don't nourish us and reduce the amount of joy and love we experience in life. So check in with yourself. Do I give space for me to feel? Or do I shut down my feelings so I can function better? And right now, if you check in with yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, how connected do you feel to your body? 10 being the most connected and 1 being completely disconnected. So we need to give space to our bodies to listen to the feelings, right? And we need to practice loving our bodies, because that's what opens the doors to pleasure, to joy, and to sexual fulfillment, right? That's what opens the doors to unshakable confidence. That's when we can feel beautiful, no matter what happens. Yeah. This complete and utter love for your physical body is the cure for any shame, guilt, past trauma, and decades of rejecting the body. But we need to give ourselves and our bodies time and space to reconnect, to start listening and start responding. Because your body is such a beautiful thing, right? And you need to celebrate the beauty of your body if you want sexual ecstasy. It's not just accepting it, but actually it's about celebrating your body and everything it does for you. Yeah, so the key here is to start listening to your body. It does take time and practice. And because of that connection is severed, it needs to be held first. And so take Julie, for example, right? She says that the Sexually Empowered Radiant Woman method has helped her to immensely improve her relationship with her body and her sexuality. And also what it did for her is that she stepped away from feeling like a little girl in the bedroom towards being the powerful woman that's really inside of her. And this is what can happen once we connect to the body wisdom. And so now to the key, number 4, is that we need to start practicing heart-centered sexuality, right? We need to connect our sexuality to our hearts. And that's once we connect to the wisdom of our bodies, we are ready to awaken our radiant sexual essence. We are ready to experience ecstatic energy flow in our bodies. And then we can flip our desire switch anytime we want, and we can delight in our sexual energy. And that's when we feel attractive and sexy, in spite of any physical imperfections we may believe we have, right? And that will allow you to surrender to love, to keep your heart open. And only then you can experience the delicious lovemaking, right? So on this step, right, in practicing heart-centered sexuality, it's very important to have a practice. sacred sexuality practice, so you can discover that connection between your heart and your sexuality, that you can discover the fire within. And there are a variety of practices that I offer to my clients, and you can pick and choose your own. But what's important is that you establish a short daily practice to keep connecting, because that flow between your heart and your sex center, quite often it's not there, right? Quite often there's something in between, it's a bit blocked. So we need an everyday practice to reestablish that connection. And most of us pay attention to exercise in our physical body, but we forget about giving space to our sensuality and our sexuality. And do you have a regular practice to connect to your womanly essence, or do you need to develop one? And I know that with age, we start to crave depth. We start to crave emotional connection. We don't want to settle for sex that's mechanical or purely physical and doesn't touch our hearts, right? But again, we can't just blame our partners for being emotionally unavailable, because this is a victimized position. We actually need to connect our sexuality to our hearts, and then we can invite our partners into a deeper experience with us. Because other people respond to our vulnerability, they respond to our softness. And especially if you lived in a masculine, goal-oriented world, right? This kind of I can do it on my own and vulnerability is a weakness. It really makes it difficult to drop into softness, to drop into emotional connection. And that's why the practice is so important, so you can reestablish that connection. And so right now, maybe close your eyes. And again, put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, or on your genitals. And then take in a couple of deep breaths. And notice that connection between your sex and your heart. Notice the quality of that connection. And breathing, feeling the connection. And again, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most connected, notice how connected is your sex center to your heart. And then you can let go of that practice. And we go to the key number 5. That's the final step. And that step is all about developing your erotic intelligence. So what does it mean to develop your erotic intelligence? So it's all about cultivating a deeper understanding, of your desires, of your preferences, what pleasures you. And it's also about embracing your authentic sexual expression and then communicating your needs. And it's also about celebrating the journey, right? Honoring your progress and embracing the joy that comes from a fulfilling sexuality. And it's also about learning different ways of making love, right? It's about expanding your repertoire of sexual play. And this is the key, seeing lovemaking as a play of connection and pleasure, right? Rather than sex is all about having an orgasm. Actually, it's all about connection and pleasure. And it's all about being willing to explore new ways of awakening your passion, new ways of connecting to your partner. And so in this step, you really need to educate yourself, right, on various techniques, but also explore new experiences. And also know how to communicate them to your partner. Because this is how you need to understand your own pleasure, your own desires, and that's how you can create more fulfilling life, when you are able to actually talk about it to your partner. And in a world that often shames and suppresses our sexual desires, celebrating our sexuality becomes a radical act of self-love and empowerment, right? And it becomes an act of shedding the layers of shame, guilt, social expectations, but instead actually choosing to step into a space of self-acceptance, celebration, and freedom, and knowing your sexuality and your needs and your desires deeply, and the willingness, the courage to speak them out loud. Okay, so here are the 5 keys, right? The 5 petals for you. Now just show them to you again. Rewrite your story, right? Feel at home and at peace in your body. Connect to your body wisdom. Practice heart-centered sexuality and develop your erotic intelligence. And so here's my question for you, right? Was this valuable for you? Can you see where you need to focus? What do you need to let go of? What to learn in order for you to enjoy really blissful lovemaking? And if you did find this valuable, would you like some help with all of the steps? Because I know one thing is to get the information, and it's actually a completely different thing to actually experience the transformation and have an embodied experience of the power and delicious beauty of your sexuality. And so if you'd like some help, just click the button somewhere on this page to apply for a time to talk to me, and I'll be really delighted to talk to you. And that's my gift to you. And here's what we'll do on the call, because there isn't one size fits all solution, right? We all have our unique life experiences. And so what I'm happy to do is diagnose what your situation is and help you identify your unique path to sexual empowerment and sexual fulfillment. And that could be really aligning with what's possible for you, right? Creating a new story for you and seeing where you stop yourself. Or it could be about specific past incidents that you need to let go of. Or maybe for you, it's actually about how to connect your sexual energy to your heart. And as I said, I have plenty of experience working with lots of private clients, couples, groups. And the gift of it, what I bring, is that I can quickly see where the problem lies. So you don't have to go round and round and, keep on feeling dissatisfied and frustrated. Because I truly believe our life is too short not to live in joy, not to live in connection. And so I can help you to really figure out what stops you, what are your roadblocks, and what is your unique path to sexual fulfillment. And so during the call, I'll give you some pointers on how to overcome your particular challenges, because never forget you're unique, right? And there are two slight catches to this gift, to this offer to you, is that I'm not good at working with women who keep on blaming their partners for lack of sexual fulfillment. And yes, of course, right, I know both parties play a role in the relationship dynamic. I work with couples, I know that. But I'm only interested in working with women who want to take their power in their own hands, right? This is for women who are done with waiting for fulfillment to happen and now willing to take the steps towards creating sexual fulfillment in their lives. And if this is you, I'd be so delighted to talk to you. And if you're currently in a relationship, it's great. And if you're single, this is great as well, because I work with both. And when you're single, it's such a great opportunity to actually rewrite your story and create something different in your life. But if you think I'll help you to change your partner, then please don't book a call, because it'll be a waste of your time, of my time. And so secondly, I will be personally talking to you to design a unique path. And my time is very limited. I've already got a full-time private practice. So once I'm booked, I'm booked. And so if my message resonates with you, I really invite you to apply soon to make sure I have time for you in my calendar. And as I said, the time is now. There's no more time to waste living unfulfilled and disconnected. So please stop hoping, wait, and feel dissatisfied. I know that the power is in your hands to create the toe-curling sexual intimacy. It is. And I've developed a system, this is really my specialty, that helps you to do just that. And so if you want to get unstuck and done with feeling unfulfilled, just click a button somewhere and let me help you. And there's no cost to that concept. And so your sexuality is really yours to enjoy. And this means knowing what you want and asking for it with confidence, with playfulness. And this means enjoying meaningful and emotionally connected sex. And this means speaking your truth and living a life where every day is an expression of who you truly are. This also means being unapologetically you, right? I can't even say this difficult word. But this means dropping all the shame and guilt and making decisions in life from a place of peace and deep connection with yourself, not from anxiety and fear and past hurts. And when our head, our heart, and our sex center are in alignment, we can create so much more in our lives. We can create so much more connection. And this is how we start to feel relaxed and confident in our radiant sexual essence, knowing that our sexuality is our creative power. And when you connect to your sensual feminine radiance, you realize that who you are is so much deeper, so much more powerful than you ever dreamt. And this is not just about sex, the thing is, but it's stepping into your full power, unleashing your graceful confidence, and also becoming a great model for your children. And I have children, and for me it's subject such close to my heart that I want to be the best mom, and I want to give my kids a different experience of life as it relates to their body and their sexuality. And that also means enjoying vibrant health, right? And creating greater success at work. And I see it again and again. Once I'm connected to my body, once I'm connected to my power, to my sexuality, I can create so much more, and people are really attracted to that energy. And if I be in my business, in my work, from a place of anxiety, fear, or past hurts, that's actually quite repelling. And it makes it so much more difficult to attract people to my work. So check in with yourself. What place are you living from? Is it from a place of deep connection to yourself, of your joy, of your power, of your beauty? Or is it from a place of anxiety, fear, and past hurts? So if you need any help with any of this, right, please book a call at no cost, no expectations, but only lots of support to you. And as confident as I am about being able to help you, I really understand that number one, I really can't help everyone, right? And number two, you might find me be the wrong person for you, right? And that's totally okay. And that's why I actually want to have a call with you as well to see, right, if there's synergy. And also, before you book the call, I want to be really sure that this is the right decision for you to make. And that's why we can take, maybe a minute to go through pros and cons of what we're about to do together. And so, okay, let's say, right, you book the call and we end up actually working together, which we might not, because like I said, I can't help everybody. But this call is free, and the purpose of it is number one, to help you, to bring more clarity to you. And also number two, if you find that valuable and want my help in transforming your sexual life, then we can work together further, yeah? And so if you do want to become a client, which again, I'm not saying you will, because first we really need to find out if we're a right fit. But if you do become the client, one of the benefits of it will be that I'm trained in a somatic psychotherapy, trauma-informed therapy, and women-centered coaching, which is a very important mix in removing the barriers that are holding you back. And I'm also trained in sacred sexuality, so we can design a powerful practice to activate the power of your sexuality. And my process is very thorough and it's very important. Yeah, I've spent so much time to creating something that really works, and I tested it, and I've took so many women through my process. And also what's helpful is that I meet you where you are at. So we look at your unique life experience and your path to success. And also the community I work with is hugely supportive, beautiful women. And the community will allow you to feel accepted, to feel empowered. And additionally, you get a lot of personal help from me. So these are all the pros, right? Assuming we even work together, which who knows, maybe we won't. And the thing is that this call is free and you will benefit even if we don't work together, right? I'm not here to pressure you into anything, but to actually help you see the path to empowered sexuality, to soul-fulfilling intimacy in your life. And this is such a passion for me that I'm willing to talk to women and offer them that map of actually what to do. So now let's talk about the cons. And right, number one, if we work together, right, it's not the cheapest thing in the world. It's not ridiculously expensive, but it's not cheap, right? And neither are you. And I know that going on trips and dates and buying things, trying to find that spark again, is pretty useless. But investing into activating the ecstatic energy flow in your body is the only way I know that works time and time again. And it's not a one-off skill, right? It will affect the rest of your life. And also, if we work together, it's going to take a commitment of time of you, right? So that's important. Do you have the commitment to prioritize yourself and your happiness? Yeah, and I know we can always find time and money for the things we value. So before booking the call, you need to decide if you're actually willing to prioritize yourself, right? If your fulfillment is important to you and you're willing to create time and space for it. Because a lot of people tell me, hey, it all sounds great, but I just don't have time. And what I'm really hearing is that, hey, I'm not that committed to creating a more fulfilling life. And here's the thing, in the event we work together, you will need 15 minutes each day for the practices, as well as time for the teaching and coaching calls. And so if you're not willing to do that, you need to learn to enjoy less than satisfying sex and resign to the idea of experiencing spiritual dimension of your sexuality. And so when I hear people tell me they don't have time or now is not the right time, My question back to them is, when will be the right time? How come you're willing to put your happiness so low on your priority list? And are those 15 minutes a day so precious that you're willing to sacrifice your happiness? And of course they are not. Of course we can always find 15 minutes. So I invite you to get started right away. You are worth it. And I invite you to book the free call with me to design your unique path. And then there's always the question, right? Well, what if this doesn't work for me, right? And who knows, maybe it won't. But what I'm really hearing when people say, what if it won't work for me, is people are wanting a guarantee that they will be successful. They might think, I like everything you've shared, but I'm not sure I can do this. Can you guarantee my success? But the thing is, what I know, life doesn't give guarantees. We have to commit and give our best, and that's how we can achieve what we want in life. I don't think Olympic champions, right, go around asking for guarantees before they commit to the training, right? Our commitment is what makes our dreams come true. And it's a choice, right? And sometimes they don't. But at least we know that we've done our best, rather than regret never even trying because we didn't have enough guarantees. So no, there's no way I can promise you my process will definitely work for you. But what I can promise you is 100% genuine support. And I also offer full refund of my programs with a certain time frame. So the details depend on the program. But the most important piece is, am I committed to my fulfillment? Am I choosing myself over my to-do list? And so if you're ready to get unstuck, please do apply for the call. Please click the button somewhere on this page. I'll just have a sip of water. And the thing is, that's why I offer a free call, because we don't know what will work for you yet. And I offer a free call to make sure we're a good fit. And also what I hear when people say, how do I know if this will work for me, is that people either don't trust me or they don't fully trust themselves. And you know what? If I haven't earned your trust, please don't book a call. I don't deserve it. It means I haven't done my job well today, and you shouldn't waste any more of your time. But if you do trust me even a bit, I know we've just met, right? But if things I'm saying resonate, right, then what I think you're really saying is that I have self-doubt and I'm not sure I can actually do this. And I completely understand this, because I felt the same way about a lot of things. And I know I've tried things and I failed. And I don't want to go through the pain of failing again. And here's a story I want to tell you that might help you. My parents immigrated to New Zealand when I was 17, and it was a horrible time. I got depressed. I didn't want to wake up because I couldn't speak English. I just had my first boyfriend in Russia and I lost him. I lost all my friends. I couldn't relate to people, and I really felt a complete outsider. And it was such a painful time in my life. Every time I think about it, it's like, wow, that 17-year-old girl, she suffered so much. And then what I did is that I became an accountant just to get by, to earn, and not to relate to people. But that felt so meaningless, and I suffered. And I started to have a chronic back pain when I was 23. I felt old, I felt useless, I felt so depressed and miserable. But then something inside me just wouldn't let me give up on my dream of living a really meaningful life, of living a joyful life. And so I went traveling and I retrained. But I constantly had to deal with the voice that said, who do you think you are? You can't even speak proper English. And you're trying to teach and help people? Who do you think you are? But still I persevered, right? And just now, working with a couple, that was our session 15, it really hit me. And the wife was saying how amazing it feels to have this warm and fuzzy feeling in her belly when she looks at her husband. How important he is to her, that he is her rock. She can't even imagine life without him. But the thing is, before starting our work, she was ready to divorce and already moved out of their family home. And you know what really got me? If I didn't believe in myself and I stayed working as an accountant, I couldn't have helped this couple, right? And many other couples and many other women. And the thing is, I'm not sure if there would have been anyone to replace me. Yeah? So let me ask you, if you had a time machine, right, and you could meet me the day I was thinking of leaving my accountancy job, What would you tell me if I was about to decide what a silly idea it was? Who do I think I am? I should just stick to counting beans. Would you let me quit on myself, or would you encourage me to do my best? And I'm sure you'd encourage me. And I am here to encourage you to stand for yourself and believe in yourself. Because giving up without even trying is way more painful than giving your best shot and not achieving what you want. Because the thing is, we can always get up and try again, using the lessons that we've learned along the way. And I know that my decision to leave my accountancy job and travel to find the way to feel good about myself and find meaning in life changed my life forever. It changed me forever. And now I'm able to change other people's lives. And it's just so fulfilling. It's so satisfying and it melts my heart. It brings tears to my eyes. And so let me ask you, are you going to let fear and self-doubt cheat you out of the future your sense is possible for you? And I'm here standing with you. And I know you can do it. And it does take action. So let's get on the call together. Let's map out your unique path to feeling free, to feeling confident, to feeling fulfilled. Because it's time to stop waiting for love, for heartwarming sex. It's time to actually cause it to happen in your life. And I hope to talk to you soon. Big, big love, big, big heart. Tarisha.